trip through the river Tyne goes pear-shaped. The breakfast room of the Holiday Inn Express, Newcastle City Centre. Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. Sound of clattering cutlery. Narrator, Kanibara. Hallway man, listen. It is August 218, the strangest bank holiday that Newcastle has seen. At the Holiday Inn, John Sr. is dour. His mood is abysmal. His coffee is sour. John Sr. Eat up your eggs, and dinna ye dawdle. I'm in nae mood for your blether and twaddle. John Jr. Father, this full English is truly ecstatic, though your temperament seems a tad problematic. Scene, the breakfast room. Sound of milk pouring into a bowl. Narrator, the older lads feast on sausage and toast, while the twins have their cereal, the thing they like most. Lachlan and Declan, aged 5 and so bright, are eating their flakes with a look of delight. Lachlan, this corn-based snack is quite crunchy and fine. Declan, a culinary triumph, a breakfast divine. Narrator. But John Sr.'s face is a mask of pure gloom, casting a shadow across the whole room. Scene, the hotel lobby. Sound of a suitcase wheels rattling. Narrator. They head for the exit, they head for the street, but John Sr.'s temper is far from a treat. He marches ahead with a heavy, fast pace, while Victor is struggling to keep up the race. Victor. Father, my pace is not quite as swift. I fear that my luggage might cause me to drift. John Sr. Keep up with the pack. We're away to the car. Stop acting as though you've been walking too far. Scene, a car park. A black 2007 Vauxhall Zafira sits idling. Sound of a diesel engine rattling. Narrator. They pile in the Zafira, a black manual beast, but the joy in the cabin has certainly ceased. John Sr. is fuming as he looks for his keys, while John Jr. is sitting with total unease. John Jr. This vehicle's aesthetic is rather dated, Father. John Sr. Be silent. Your chatter is starting to bother. I'm driving this wagon, so shut up your mouth, or I'll turn this Zafira and head back down south. Scene, inside the car. Sound of a gear stick grinding. Narrator. The gears give a crunch as he shifts into first, and the mood in the Zafira is truly the worst. Victor is watching the dashboard with care as a smell of old diesel begins to fill the air. Victor. Father, the torque of this engine is grand, but the seating arrangement is not what we planned. John Sr. Haud your wished, Victor. I'm driving this car. You'll sit where I tell ye, or we won't go far. Scene, the banks of the river Tyne. Gray water ripples. Sound of seagulls crying. Narrator. They reach the great Tyne, where the water is cold, and the twins are feeling courageous and bold. They run to the edge where the mud is all thick, while John Sr. is looking for something to kick. Lachlan. Look at the silt and the flora so green. Declan. Let's go pond dipping, the best ever seen. Narrator. They reach for the water with buckets in hand, ignoring the mud and the wet, salty sand. Scene, the riverbank. Sound of a loud, angry shout. Narrator. But John Sr. is livid. He lets out a roar, and he stomps his big feet on the riverbed floor. He grabs Lachlan's arm, and he pulls him away, determined to ruin their afternoon play. John Sr. No dipping. Get back, or I'll pull you to pieces. Lachlan. But father, we're seeking a brand new species. John Sr. You're exacerbating my headache. Get back, or the holiday ends with a literal thwack. Scene, on a riverboat. Wind whistles. Sound of water splashing. Narrator. On the boat, the wind whistles a chilly old tune, but John Sr. is acting like some big buffoon. He pulls out some fruitcake and eats every crumb, while John Jr. is feeling increasingly glum. John Jr. That snack was my sustenance, Father. You know, to take it was selfish, a quite lowly blow. John Sr. I'm hungry. Be quiet. I'm eating my fill. If you want any cake, ye can pay for the bill. Scene, the boat deck, sound of wind, whipping a hat. Narrator. The boys wear their hats to keep out the sun, but John Sr. decides that he's finished with fun. He snatches their headwear and throws them aside, while John Jr. and Victor have nowhere to hide. John Jr. My cowboy hat, father. It's gone from my head. Victor. A lack of protection is something I dread. John Sr. No cowboys on board. You're acting like brats. I'm sick of the sight of those ridiculous hats. Scene. Inside the moving Zafira. Sound of a window crank turning. Creak, creak, creak. Narrator. Back in the car, on the way to the Mews, Victor feels hot and he has the blues. The heat in the cabin is making him sweat, and his father is acting like even more of a threat. Victor. This cabin is stifling. The air is quite thick. I'll crank down the window and do it quite quick. Sound. A sharp slap. John Sr. You're juvenile, Victor. Stop touching the door. I've told you 1,000 times, maybe even more. Scene. The back seat of the car. Sound of heavy sobbing. Narrator. The twins start to wail as the car speeds along. They're singing a sad and a tear-filled song. They're thirsty and tired and trapped in the heat, while John Sr. is shouting from his driver's seat. Lachlan. The atmosphere here is quite claustrophobic. Declan. I fear that our father is joy and fun, phobic. Narrator. Their tears hit their glasses and blur out the view as the black car travels to somewhere quite new. Scene, 4 West Farm Mews. Outside a brick house, sound of a car door slamming. Narrator. They arrive at the Marinos, a couple so sweet who live in a house that is tidy and neat. Mr. Marino is standing right there with a welcoming smile and a friendly old air. Mr. Marino, benvenuti, che bella casa we share. John Sr. Aye, whatever, just show us the chair. I'm exhausted from driving these weens through the town. Narrator. He enters the house with a permanent frown. Scene, the Marino's kitchen. Sound of a kettle whistling. Narrator. Mrs. Marino brings biscuits and tea, as kind as a person can possibly be. She speaks in Italian with grace and with flair, while Victor is sitting and smoothing his hair. Mrs. Marino, mangia, piccolo, biscuits for you. Victor, your hospitality, madam, is long overdue. This shortbread is layered with buttery zest. Narrator. Of all of the hosts, she is truly the best. Scene. The Marino's study. A computer sits on a desk. Sound of a mouse clicking. Narrator. But peace doesn't last in this lovely NE5, for the boys' naughty antics are soon to arrive. John Jr. and Victor have found a PC, and they're clicking on things they should not even see. John Jr. Look at this channel. It's chaos and eggs. Victor. He's smashing up kitchens and furniture legs. Narrator. They're huddled together in front of the glow, watching a how-to-basic ridiculous show. Scene. The study. Sound of a door slamming open. Narrator. John Sr. bursts in with a face like a beet, and he knocks John Jr. right off of his seat. He is incensed and livid and ready to blow at the sight of the egg-smashing YouTube show. John Sr. That's it. You're incorrigible. Off with that screen. It's educational videos. Nothing obscene. John Jr. But father, the physics of eggs is quite grand. John Sr. Shut up, or I'll slap the back of your hand. Scene. The dining table. A bowl of plain noodles. Sound of a fizzy drink opening. Narrator. For dinner, the choices are meager and thin. Plain rice or some bread from a plastic-wrapped bin. John Sr. is stingy and won't buy a feast, acting just like a cheapskated, miserable beast. Lachlan. Father, this palate is dreadfully plain. Declan. A lack of seasoning causes me pain. Narrator. They stare at their bowls with a look of despair, while the smell of plain noodles hangs thick in the air. Scene. Tesco Extra. Bright fluorescent lights, sound of a shopping trolley squeaking. Narrator. At Tesco, the tension reaches a peak when John Jr. decides to finally speak. He stands by the fridge with a look in his eye. and he points to a meal he is longing to buy. John Jr., I demand a lasagna. I'm starving, I say. This abysmal nutrition has ruined my day. John Sr., if you mention lunch one more time, little man, I'll poison your juice with whatever I can. Narrator, he is livid and shouting, a terrible sight, right there in the middle of Tesco at night. Scene, the Tesco aisle. Sound of a child screaming, A-A-A-G-H. Narrator John Jr. collapses and starts to turn blue, and Declan is joined in the tantruming too. The noise is horrific, a terrible sound, as John Jr. is rolling all over the ground. John Jr. Lasagna. I need it. I'm dying of hunger. Declan. I've never seen father look any more younger. Narrator. The shoppers are staring. The staff are in shock as the boy starts to scream at the top of the block. Scene, the hotel room. A pair of Nike trainers on the bed. Sound of banging on the wall. Narrator. Back at the hotel, the shoes are too tight. John Jr. screams out with all of his might. He kicks at the wall with his Nike-clad feet, making a noise that is far from a treat. John Jr. These Nikes are horrid. They pinch at my toes. This cacophonous ruckus is how my grief grows. Victor. Brother, your volume is truly extreme. Narrator. The hotel is filled with a high-pitched scream. Scene, the hotel hallway. Sound of a door handle rattling. Narrator. The neighbor, Mrs. Thrum, is as cranky as lead, as John Jr. screaming could wake up the dead. She bangs on the door with a fist and a shout, wanting to know what the noise is about. Mabel Thrum, Hod your wished. I'm trying to doze. Stop that wee bairn and his screaming and woes. John Sr. Get back to your room, ye old miserable trout. Narrator. He stands in the doorway and starts to yell out. Scene, the hotel room. A pink glow fills the air. Sound of shimmering magic. Ting. Narrator. Then suddenly, magic. A pink, glowing light. And Emma the fairy appears in the night. She's Chinese and beautiful, wearing a gown, and she looks at John Jr. without any frown. Emma. Ni hao. This father is being so mean. The worst parenting style that I've ever seen. John Jr. Oh, magical being, please save us from bread. Narrator. She hovers in light right above the boy's bed. Scene, the hotel room. Sound of a magical poof. Narrator. She waves her small wand and she lets out a shout, and a McDonald's feast is quickly spread out. There are nuggets and burgers and fries in a pile, and even John Sr. begins to have a smile. Emma, eat up, John Sr., and change your bad ways, or you'll be quite lonely for all of your days. John Sr. My goodness, a burger. It's salty and hot. Narrator. He realizes then he's been acting a lot. Scene, a sunny garden. A wedding arch is visible. Sound of wedding bells. Narrator. John Sr. repents, he changes his life, and he finds a wonderful, beautiful wife. Rochelle Diamond is kind, and she's full of such grace, and she brings a big smile to John Sr.'s face. Rochelle. I love you, my John. You're a wonderful man. John Sr. I'm trying the best that a Scotsman can. Narrator. They stand at the altar and promise their hearts as a brand new adventure for everyone starts. Scene, a cozy living room. Sound of a baby gurgling. Narrator. Now life is much better. The tantrums have ceased, and the joy in the family has only increased. For Rochelle has a baby, a brother for Ben, and the house is a happy and jolly old den. Rochelle. Look at young Benjamin. Isn't he sweet? Benjamin. Goo goo. Narrator. The river Tyne trip was a bit of a mess, but it ended in laughter and great happiness. Way I.